What's up guys, welcome back. So today we're testing out the new Mcgrath Foundation, which has just launched. I did not know it was launching. I never know when anything is launching, I swear. I live under a rock. I've been hibernating, alright? I've been eating chocolate, eating Thai food, and watching Glee. Last night I just watched the episode where they go to sectionals and they do their original songs. Oh my god! Mcgrath is just one of those brands that is just so aesthetically pleasing to me. Like, look at the packaging of this foundation. It's like so, it looks like a perfume. I can't deal. And then look at how it opens. This little part. What is that? What is this? And this slides out. I can't deal. I love it so much. I could honestly scream in someone's face right now. I just feel like there's so much thought that goes into the aesthetics and the branding of this. For a foundation that is $106, you kind of want something, you want packaging that matches that. Yes, you heard me right. This is a $106 Australian foundation. Just let that sink in for a minute. It's up there. It's definitely a luxurious high-end price tag. So I really am keen to put it to the test today and see if it's actually worth it for that amount of money. I don't have the Australian prices for the powder and the primer that they've launched, but the primer is $60 US and the powder is $55 US. So I'm guessing they're going to be something around like $90 Australian. I couldn't find them online, so I feel like only the foundation has launched in Australia just yet. We are just going to do a little bit of a wear test and first impression with everything, see how it all goes and how it lasts throughout the day, and I will do some check-ins with you guys, and I do have a few other Mcgrath products that I'm going to show you guys in today's video as well. Hopefully you guys like this video. If you do, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell button to turn on notifications so you guys don't miss any of my uploads, and we're going to jump straight in to test this out and see if that $106 price tag is actually worth it, because heck. So we're gonna start off with the primer first, guys, and I think I'm just gonna do one side of my face. Usually I just do my whole face, but you know, I wanna actually test this out and see if there's a difference, because this is supposed to be a smoothing and hydrating primer. It's meant to prevent moisture loss because it has hyaluronic acid in it, but it is a velvety matte finish, supposedly. So I am very intrigued to see how that's going to go on my skin. I have combination skin. I get like a bit oily, but in winter at the moment, I'm like hella dry. So this is a $60 primer, like I said, $60 US. So I'm guessing Australian, that's going to be like $90. Kind of has like a moussey look to it. There's not really like a strong smell or anything to it. It's just like a really nice light fragrance. Looks like very smoothing and kind of moussey. This is also a silicone free primer as well. Kind of get what they mean with like the hydrating yet velvet matte finish. It gives you kind of that like poreless, I don't know if you guys can see a difference between my two hands. It's like hydrated all the wrinkles and pores on my hands and kind of given it like a slight blurring, and it really is a velvet matte finish. I'm gonna do it on the right side of my face just so we can test both sides and see if there is a difference. So this side has the primer and this side doesn't. I feel like it's kind of just smooth, like ever so slightly. Can you guys see a difference? If you can, let me know in the comments down below, because I can't really notice a huge difference right now. Hopefully you guys can see what my skin texture is like. So the foundation comes in 36 different color choices and it has 5 different shade levels. So I think it's like light, medium, deep, and deep. When I was looking at like the swatches, I think I would be more like medium 15, I think it was. That looked like a pretty good color match for me. I'm worried that this is going to be a little bit dark. It'd probably match my tan really well at the moment because I just did a fresh fake tan like 2 days ago. But this is definitely a shade that I could only wear when doing a very fresh fake tan. It wouldn't be like my typical go-to foundation shade. Typically my best foundation match would be NARS Sheer Glow in the shade Punjab. That's like my favorite color to wear. So I'm gonna swatch them and show you guys on the side of my face just the different undertones and colors. So that's the shade medium 21, obviously way too dark for my skin tone. So that's medium 18, and then this next one is medium 17. So 17 is what I'm going to use today. This is the darkest foundation color that I could go. And this to me seems really similar to my Too Faced Born This Way foundation in the shade Golden Beige, I think it is. that's like my darkest foundation that I have, and that's what I'll typically wear if I'm really, really tanned. Obviously we're matching this to the rest of my body, guys, like my fake tan. Not my face. I don't fake tan my face just because it clogs my pores. So this is also a self-setting and long wearing foundation, which is really cool because I don't typically love to set my whole face with powder lately. I just find I look like a crusty demon and I'm just trying to avoid too much powder. So I think it's really cool that it's self-setting. It's supposed to fight the formation of wrinkles by preserving the hydrolipidic film barrier of the skin, and it's supposed to boost hydration by activating the natural production of hyaluronic acid and ceramides. I don't know what any of that means. It does say it improves skin texture and it smooths and blurs the appearance of fine lines and imperfections. So basically it's just sorcery. So that primer is definitely set down on my skin now. It feels a lot more matte on this side. The moisturizer that I use is a very dewy moisturizer, and it's really hydrating. So this side just feels a lot more dewy and like a little bit tacky to touch, whereas this one's like completely set down. Oh God, it's so dark. This definitely isn't going as far as I thought it would go. Like it's not as spreadable as I thought it would be. I don't know if it's just this brush. This is the Sublime Perfection foundation brush, by the way, and it retails for $55 USD. So I'm guessing it's gonna be like $70 or something Australian. So I'm not in love with how the brush is applying it on my skin, just because I feel like I don't know, it feels dry blending out with the brush. I'm used to using a sponge because it just has a little bit more moisture in it, and I just feel like my skin needs that in winter. So I've just gone and wet my sponge. I've washed it, but I didn't really get all the foundation out. But this is the Sigma, what's it called? 3D HD blender. I was going to try and keep it sheer, but because I am going up so many shades with the foundation, because it's not a perfect match, and because my face is already so much lighter, it kind of just looks like dirt on my skin. So I think I am going to have to do just a little bit more of a full coverage. And I'm just going to lighten up as much as I can with my concealer. So this is what the foundation's looking like after doing like 2 to 3 pumps all over my face. I just really wanted to make sure that I didn't have any white patches of my actual skin peeking through. I actually look like Donald Trump like this. It's disturbing my soul. It's just too dark for me. I'm really hoping it doesn't oxidize. It does match the rest of my body, but I just prefer my face to be a little bit lighter than the rest of my body. I'd rather darken it up with bronzers. So yeah, I'm definitely going to try and lighten it as much as I can with concealer, but this is what it's looking like so far. It's actually a really beautiful finish on the skin. I'm not really noticing a big difference between the prime side and the non-prime side. This is where I tend to get a little bit of congestion in my skin, just there. So that's where I'm kind of noticing a little bit of caking. It is kind of sinking into my smile lines just here and here really slightly. I don't typically get smile lines with foundations like ever. Very, very skin-like. It does look like skin even though I've gone up 700 shades. I do think it is a little bit like smoothing and like makes your skin look like a little bit flawless. It's kind of smooth like around here. On my forehead, not so much. It kind of looks a bit like old and dry on there. I'm actually surprised with how dry this foundation does look on my skin. I still have like the glow coming through from the moisturizer. Someone's outside. The glow is just coming through from the moisturizer. I'm just lucky that I used something so hydrating to prep my skin, because otherwise I think this would be very drying on me. I do prefer using this foundation with a sponge as opposed to a brush, but that's just me. I just prefer using sponges in general, but I do feel like I needed the extra hydration from the sponge. Just that little bit of extra moisture to kind of get it flawless on my skin, because it was a little bit drying to like move around, I think. That's how it's looking. I'm just gonna do my concealer really quick. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Away Liquid Concealer in the shade Fair 4. Oh my god. And then I'm taking some of my Becca Aqua Luminous Concealer and putting a bit of this over top. I have this in the shade Light. And then I think around my like beard area as well, because I feel like Homer Simpson, because like this is just too dark. I look like I have dirt on your nose. Right there. Did you know? Oh my god, this is already 1,000 times better, just having that little bit of light to the skin. I don't look so Trumpy. We are going to move on and test out the powder now. This is light medium 2. So this is obviously quite a bit lighter than the foundation I've used. So I feel like it's going to help counteract the color, hopefully, fingers crossed. And this other one is medium 3, which is, well, it's too dark for me. It's available in 5 shades apparently. I like to go lighter with my powders anyway. I don't like to go too dark. I'd rather have a powder that's too light than too dark because you can still work with it. And I do have a brush here to use. So this is the Sublime Perfection Powder Brush, retails for $58 USD. So the powder is meant to be weightless and buildable, and it's meant to have a barely there feel, and it helps blur fine lines and imperfections. So I'm not going to use too much, like I have little to nothing on my brush. I'm just going to do a really light dusting. Seems like a pretty good powder for under eyes. Like it hasn't oxidized my concealer or anything. I find that I always get oxidizing with powders and concealers. Like they just kind of make my under eyes a bit darker. It's kind of blurred the skin, but it hasn't mattified it, if that makes sense. Like it's taken out like the oily kind of look and just made it look really flawless and perfected, but not in like a really gross dry way or anything. Like I feel like this would be a good powder for dry skin. Seems really like finely milled as well, and I definitely agree that it is a barely there kind of looking formula. The combination of this foundation and the powder together is like really flawless and really, really pretty. So hopefully you guys can see what I mean when I say like how flawless it looks. Like, oh my god, I didn't realize, like when remember how I said like my forehead was looking like a little bit like crusty and dry? I feel like that powder got rid of that. It just looks so smooth and flawless, and there's still really no difference between the non-prime side and the prime side. I'm gonna jump in now and do the rest of my makeup. I'm gonna use this Pat McGrath, what is this called? This is the bronze, is this Bronze Nectar? Like, this is the thing with Pat McGrath products, alright? I can never find the name. Sublime Skin Highlighting Trio. There we go. I think I'm going to take a mix of these two. This one has more of a duochrome kind of look, whereas this one's white with like a gold kind of reflect, and then this one's just like a really nice bronze. So I'm just applying this to like the high points of my face, just bringing a bit of glow up in there. I'm going to stick to using my Fenty Shady Biz bronzer. This is a little bit more cool toned because my face is so warm at the moment. I think I'm just gonna try and chisel a little bit rather than like bronze. So I'm just pressing this into the hollows of my cheeks, just underneath my cheekbones. I really like this bronzer for taking it down the sides of my nose too, which you guys know I don't typically contour my nose because I don't know, I don't feel like I don't have a nose for contour. I found with this bronzer that it's just like the perfect shade. And I just use this big fluffy brush and I feel like it just works out really, really well. So this is a Zoeva 111 Petite Face Brush. I'm gonna go in with some blush now. This is the NARS blush in the shade Gina. So I'm just applying this on the apples of my cheeks. I always try and smile when I do it now because I realize if I don't smile, I start up here and it's like, Kasey, why are you putting blush underneath your eyeballs? So if I smile, you can see that they're here, and then I just kind of work my way backwards. I'm gonna do my eyes now. I'll probably zoom you guys in for this, but this is the Pat McGrath Mothership 2 palette or 3? Mothership. No, this is just the Mothership. Is it? Far out. I don't know. I'll leave it down below for you guys. I don't know why I get so confused with what they are, but this is what it looks like. This shade right here is probably like pretty much the only one I've really used. All the other shades aren't really my typical kind of vibe, but I think I might do something with like these today and this one. But this is like the prettiest thing ever. It's like, oh my god, it's so reflective. It's not even gonna do it justice. It's just the most wet looking eyeshadow. So what I'm gonna do first up is just take a little bit of Shady Biz and Island Ting, those two Fenty bronzers. I like to mix them and use them in the crease of my eyes, just as like a little bronzy kind of thing happening. These are like, I've used these so much recently. I feel like they're in every single video lately. So this is just kind of like my little transition trick for if you're using a palette that doesn't really have a transition shade for your skin tone. And I probably will go back and forth between those and the colors that I'm going to use from the palette just to like get them to blend. I'm gonna take this shade right here, just on my Sigma, what do you call, your name's rubbed off, E25. And I'm just placing this in the outer corner. Whoa, that's got a lot of pigment. Just with that leftover bronzer and using that to blend out the edges. So I'm just gonna keep going in with this and just building it up. So I'm also taking that shade just really lightly along my lower lash line. And then I'm taking a mix of those two bronzers again. And just with that same fluffy brush I used to place down the color, I'm just gonna blend. I'm gonna take a mix of these two, this purple one and this more bronze one. And I'm just gonna use that same E25, yeah, E25 brush. Love using a fluffy brush with shimmers as well, because I feel like it just kind of keeps them a bit more diffused and like more blended. And then I'm just blending the crease with that same E35. Then I'm going to take this really cool shade and I'm going to place it in the middle of the eye. This shade is so sick, you guys. Oh, look at that. You just want to sell your firstborn for it. I'm going to go off camera and just pop on a pair of lashes, and then we'll come back and I'll do my lips. The lashes that I used are the Nakia Joy Cosmetics April lashes. Someone's banging. I really love the April ones at the moment and the Athena ones. Athena. Those are like my two favorites, but I don't know where I put my Athena ones. So I'm going to use this Lip Fetish lip balm from Pat McGrath, just as like a primer for my lips. There's no color to it and there's no scent. It's just like, yeah, just really nicely hydrating. And then I have quite a few lipsticks here. I've used a couple of them before. I think I'm gonna go with the nude because like my eyes, I don't want anything too dark on my lips. These are really beautiful. So this one's $19.95. I've used this one before. This is so pretty. So I'm just gonna line my lips really quick with my MAC Strip Down Liner. So that is everything for my makeup. I have finally finished. Everything blended over the foundation really well. There's no patchiness or anything. Typically I get like my foundation kind of pulls off my cheek sort of area where I contour, but I haven't had any issues with that. Everything just looks really pretty and really flawless. It's definitely still very matte looking on the skin. There's definitely like no dew to the skin. I'm going to quickly do a flash test. Wow, amazing photo. Looks really good. That's with the flash. Doesn't look like there's any flashback at all, and it actually looks really flawless. This is without the flash. So yeah, it just looks like really pretty on camera. There's definitely no flashback, so this is a great foundation for photography or events or anything like that. I will check back in a couple of hours once I've had something to eat and I'm not so shaky. Alright guys, so I'm back and it's been about 5 hours now that I've had the foundation on. I just had a quick look in the mirror to see what everything's looking like, and to be honest, like 100% honest with you guys, I don't have any complaints. It looks amazing. It still looks so good. It basically looks exactly how it did 5 hours ago, except for the fact that like my oils kind of started to come through, so it's just not as dry looking. If anything, it just looks more hydrated. It is a little bit like patchy in some areas, like around here and here, like on my chin. That's because I was touching my face. I was sitting here getting photos of my makeup and I was kind of doing like a little hand situation, so it's just from me touching, because this side of my face is still completely fine. It just comes off easy, but I didn't really set it crazily with the powder, so that's just to be expected, and I don't really have any concerns with that. I just know that if I touch my face, my foundation's gonna come off no matter what. Really nice on the skin. Everything still looks really flawless. There's nothing else that I really have to say. I think it's held up really well for 5 hours. I typically don't wear foundation for longer than 5 hours unless I've done my makeup really early in the morning for filming, and then I take it off in like the evening, or if I'm like going to something that's like an all day kind of thing. Most of the time I would take my makeup off at the first chance that I get. So I'm not really someone who wears makeup for a very long period of time. And if I do, I don't really care if it comes off. Like a couple of patches, I honestly could not care less. So this is what it looks like up close. I honestly can't see any differences between the non-prime side and the prime side. aside from the fact that I was touching my face, sitting here like this getting photos, and it's come off, but I honestly don't think that's anything to do with the fact that I didn't prime this side, because I wasn't touching the prime side of my face. I think it looks pretty good. Alright guys, so final thoughts on these products and the price tags. Like, based on this first impression alone, I would go out and purchase this. I really, really like it. I think it's performed so well on the skin. It still looks really, really beautiful. I would obviously just buy my correct shade. I actually have a couple of weddings and events, and I have a graduation ball for Hamish this year coming up. I've been looking for a foundation that doesn't have any flashback and just looks really perfect and lasts, as well as being really skin-like. And I feel like this is going to be the foundation that I use. If not, I'll mix it with one of my other foundations just because it might be a little bit too dark. But this formula I think is amazing. Is it worth $106? I mean, I think that comes down to whether you're willing to spend $106 on a foundation. For me, I would honestly do it because I'm a makeup lover. So if you want to treat yourself, say you've done really well at work or uni or something lately, I think it's so worth it. It has an absolutely amazing formula, lasts incredible on the skin, was definitely really flawless and lightweight, definitely looks really, really skin-like. First impressions, really, really like it, but I do want to take a week or so to continue testing it out and just seeing how it works with other products. Just getting to know it a little bit more, because I feel like first impressions can change. I think the powder is really worth it as well. This was so nice and flawless. It was very blurring on the skin, and I think it worked really amazing with the foundation. So these two together I think has been a really beautiful combination on the skin, and I definitely think, like, we'll see, but I'm pretty sure I'll end up wearing these for the grad ball that I'm going to and the wedding I'm going to at the end of the year. The primer I would skip. I don't think it really does too much. I'm not really fussed by primers. I can't see a difference between the two, and I prefer primers that are super hydrating and make your skin really dewy before you go in with products, because I find my skin just sucks everything up. I would skip the primer, skip the brushes. You don't need the brushes. They're really nice and lovely if you want to splurge and spoil yourself, sure, but I personally wouldn't buy the brushes or the primer. The two that I would purchase myself with my own money are these two. The packaging is freaking beautiful. Hopefully this review helped you guys out. I will continue trying it out in my future videos, testing them with different products and different combinations. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. So it is quite a... No. I will kill someone. Oh my god. And I also have a few other Pat McGrath products. So it's gonna be like... So it's gonna be like a first... Whoa, 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 whoa.